Yo, what is going on, everybody? Caveman Jack back for a slightly different style of video today. For a little while, I've been wanting to do a change up the variety of the type of videos that we do on the channel. This is my first attempt at trying something new. Look at me. But yeah, essentially, I love engaging with other people and talking about music and their passions and their stories when it comes to how they fell in love with music and how music has shaped them. And I felt like this was an awesome way. I've got a lot of amazing friends in my life and a lot of them that I love their music, much like my very first guest today on this untitled series that I currently have. My good friend Daniel Brown. Can you say hello to the camera, my friend?
G'day to the Caveman Jack audience.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here, honestly. It's great. Glad to be part of the first attempt at somewhat of a podcast sort of situation happening.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you joining me in this awkward stage of not really knowing what I'm doing yet with this video. Being behind a camera and reacting to music, it's awesome. I then release the videos and I can see people's responses and engage with them, and they can tell me about, what the album means to them and the band, the artist. So it is a really special thing. And I think this is just an extension of that almost. And just kind of getting people into the studio, having a bit of a chat with them and just kind of hearing a little bit of their journey when it comes to their music discovery, what they love. And I'm very keen to dive into a bunch of stuff with you today, Dan.
Yeah.
But firstly, Dan, this is a very vague question. And you don't have to go into super detail here, but just tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
I recently graduated a sound production course, a bachelor's of sound production at Box Hill Institute.
That's some bougie shit.
Yeah, which is great. So not just being a music lover, but learning everything behind the scenes. Yeah, just seeing how the songs that I love and grew up on, I kind of just had an ear for like why these sounds sound a certain type of way and how they got to that stage. And
you wanted to see the origins and how these sounds that you love and you've loved over your lifespan, how they actually got to that point.
Yeah, like, peek behind the curtain sort of thing.
Man,
yeah. So naturally I kind of just fell into the whole recording in studios and hopefully getting into like live sound and stuff as well, which is great. So yeah, I'm also a musician as well. So I'm mainly a drummer. I've also dabbled in singing and piano as well in recent years.
So you're essentially a jack of all trades here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm aiming to be. I'm kind of knocking one instrument at a time.
My gosh, man.
Yeah, so eventually I'd like to, learn guitar and bass and all that. Maybe if I get skilled enough, maybe the triangle, but,
Right.
Yeah,
and just like building rockets and being on MasterChef. And those things as well.
Yeah, just got to knock them all off.
Yeah, jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot to unpack here, Dan.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring it back to the start. What was the first music moment that really stood out to you? Was there a song that hit you? Was there a band and just a moment that you can recall that you were like, crap, this is amazing?
There's definitely a few sort of moments that I can go down. One of them, probably the first, is when I discovered just pop punk as a genre.
Yep.
That kind of got me into drums in the first place. Naturally, that kind of genre is a lot of fast pace and loud drums.
Yep.
Really complex feels and everything like that. So I kind of gravitated towards that.
Yep.
So I'd say the first sort of, I guess, memory I have is my sister. She kind of introduced me to that genre because at the time I was probably around 2007, 2008.
So how old were you there?
It's probably about 8.
Yeah, right.
It was probably 8 or 9.
It's a prime pop ronk.
Pop ronk, yes.
Pop ronk. So 8-year-old Dan, he's in his room and he hears pop punk. Pop punk?
Yes.
Pop punk for the very first time.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is it.
Yeah,
Honestly, this has hooked me.
Yeah. And from there, I remember specific bands like Mayday Parade and All Time Low. And a big one for me, My Chemical Romance as well. That album, The Black Parade, how like cohesive that album from start to finish has like a story.
Yeah.
And it's just very hard hitting, and that kind of made me realize there is so much more to music than just like sonically pleasing.
Yep.
There's, you know, so much messages and meanings that can be conveyed through, and emotions that can be conveyed through songs.
Now, have you seen any of those bands live yet?
I've seen both of them live.
Right.
Well, not my chem.
Yep.
That the tickets are a bit pricey on
Yeah,
that
they're-
one, to be
they're-
honest.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, one day,
One day, man. There you go.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. But yeah, no. I've seen All Time Low, Mayday Parade, and it was just like I was just that 8-year-old kid again. Honestly, like I saw him at Good Things Festival a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and I was just like the whole time I just had like hairs.
Man,
like,
that's
stood up.
crazy,
It was great.
right?
It was like really good, and they sounded like even better live. It was just like such a good experience, and like everyone was just singing the songs, and it was just like definitely one of the best moments of my life, which is crazy because like a lot of people probably don't really think about that as being like one of the best moments of their life in a sense of like just like going to a festival and stuff, but having that
man.
nostalgic connection
Yeah.
and kind of having that moment, it's just like it just meant so much.
What you say there, I think a lot of like the audience and the people that watch my channel, and I've been able to read that through some of the comments, is that is not a far-fetched comment by you. The gigs and seeing your favorite artist or hearing an album for the very first time that ultimately becomes a fantastic project and a memory for you can be some of the best moments of your life, because I can generally relate to that. There's moments I can pinpoint that, and a lot of them are music related, and a lot of them are gigs, a lot of them are album listens for the first time, and those are some of the highlights, man. So I can really relate with you there.
What I find interesting is that when you kind of like look back on your childhood, a lot of, I'm not sure for you, but for me, a lot of it is kind of brought up through music. A lot of the like memorable times, like I even just remember, weirdly enough, you know, just in the car, of my mum's like back seat, and just like on my iPod Nano, like, you know, just like scrolling through songs and shit, and it's just like just little things like that. It's like music really does play a part in like core memories and things like that. And it's just like, or even, you know, you find random songs that you forget about as well, and then you just like hear it and you just instantly go back to that moment in time, and it's like almost like it unlocked like a little kind of memory in your head.
Man. Music is such a powerful tool, and I think the potential that music can have to make people feel different emotions and help them get through certain points in their life, I think is understated. I think a lot of people recognize just how powerful music is, but I think the untapped potential is still there. I think we often can correlate memories with certain albums or certain moments, whether, you know, some good, some bad. Give me a rundown. What is the genres that you would pinpoint as some of your favorites?
So basically from probably just what I grew up on, from like 8 onwards, it was very much pop punk, and then that sort of led into a little bit heavier music like hardcore rock, and then eventually metalcore.
Metalcore. Explain to me what metalcore is, because I hear metalcore and it sounds like some like industrial rebellious revolution
demonic
film.
Shit. It's honestly not as demonic as people think from the outside. It's actually quite expressive and emotional in a sense. And for me, I remember this was one of the genres that my sister would play out on the speaker. I literally remember this moment. I like looked over to my dad and I said, like, I hate this music. Like, I hate it when she plays this. I'll never get into this. And I guess she just played it so much, and eventually I just became accustomed to it. And then now it's one of my favorite genres. For like all the Spotify Wrapped, top genre is usually metalcore, which is crazy because it's just like there was a moment in my life where I hated and I could not listen to it. It's quite a jarring genre, and it's not always, I guess, quote unquote, pleasing to the ears. So I think it's something that you almost got to develop a liking to. It's like, I don't like all metalcore, you know, I don't like really thrashy metalcore where I can't really understand too much of what they're saying. I'm more into melodic metalcore. A lot of like mixes of like screaming and singing, and even just like melodic screaming and sing screaming can be a thing. A lot of kind of, I'd say the best gateway band would be like Bring Me the Horizon. Everyone's heard of Bring Me the Horizon. They started off as a deathcore band, then they went into kind of the metalcore, and then they started to go into like even just pop punk, pop. They released an album that's just straight EDM trance. Like they're
trippy.
fucking like they're all over the place. But I think for people to start getting their heads around even just having an open mind to get into metalcore, I think
that was going to be my next question. And this is the truth, really.
Yeah.
Don't know much about metalcore.
Yeah.
Again, thought it was a rebellious industrial movie.
Yeah.
But explain, and how would you suggest a beginner that wants to get into this sound and dip their feet into it, how would you suggest someone do that?
I would start with something that would probably have a bit more singing and melodic kind of pop elements. And then, because there's so many there are so many subgenres of metalcore. For example, growing up, I used to just hate rap. Like, I just could not get into rap. I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm not listening to this rap crap, trap, do-do-do-do-do-do-do, triple hits and all that sort of shit. And like mumble rap and all that. And it's just like, I just fucking hated it. And it's not till I started actually asking people who loved the music and stuff and being like, hey, like, I don't really like this aspect of rap coming from what I talk about and what I like. Is there anything for me? And you kind of find things that you like. And for example, like a good mate of ours, Sam, I would probably say he's the main reason I started getting into rap.
Shout out to Sam.
Yeah, shout out to Sam. Yeah, he'll love that.
You turning to Sam and saying, hey mate, I know you love this genre. I know you love hip hop.
Yeah.
Give me some insights. I don't really like this part of hip hop. I'm not a huge fan of those kind of sounds. Can you direct me in the ways that the type of sounds that I like to hear?
Yeah.
And Sam was able to provide you that.
Yeah.
I think that answers the question really nicely. If you have friends that are into a certain genre that you're actually kind of interested in at least trying and opening up your mind to, don't be afraid to ask the question. Don't be afraid to reach out to your mates and be like, hey, I kind of want to get into it. Because sometimes when we try to get into it ourselves, we can kind of go down this rabbit hole and we can be turned off of it straight away because we might find an album that's just not suited to us.
Yeah.
So having friends almost cater or distribute certain albums that they feel as though might be attuned to your style or your kind of what you kind of like to hear.
I've even had instances where I've listened to artists or albums and I haven't liked, and I've come back to years later and been like, I fucking love this.
Right? Yeah.
And I'm like, how did I not like this? And it's just crazy. And it's just like, it goes to show how, I guess, fluid your taste can be. And it's like, what might not be right for you in that point in time might be right for you later on down the track.
As you're kind of getting older, I think you do, when you just love music, you start seeing how other bands and other artists and albums are hitting other people, and you go, I want a bit of that. I want to try. I want to see. What are they hearing?
Yeah, what am I missing out on? Yeah.
What is your favorite album of all time?
Yeah.
It's a really difficult question.
It's
I know.
a tough one.
I gave him a little bit of time, so I'm not just throwing the hammer on him, but I naturally think I could even answer this. So if you give me an answer. Let me know what you think.
Well, first thing, I mean, of course, straight off the bat, the Black Parade.
Yep.
Obviously.
Yep.
Fun fact about that one is that album was recorded in almost like a haunted mansion.
I think someone mentioned that.
I probably did.
Yeah, maybe it was you.
And they reckon that in the recording process, because they'd like slept there and stuff as well. They reckon they heard footsteps and giggling and people moving and stuff like that.
That's scary, bro.
Yeah. But then when you think about the album, you're like, that is perfect.
Yeah. Like even the song titles themselves had such an emphasis. Like "Dead" is "Dead" one of the songs.
Yeah. Even like this first song in the album is called "The End." Full stop.
That's what I mean. I'm reading it. I'm going. I'm reading through it, and you've got some really intense lyricism, some really heavy themes. Mama, Cancer, Welcome to the Black Parade. These songs had such heavy lyricism and such a powerful meaning behind. You could feel the emotion.
And what the really cool thing is, like the singer Gerard Way, he kind of correct me if I'm wrong, people, but he grew up more based around like comic book writing.
Yep.
And he actually created the The Umbrella Academy on Netflix.
No way.
Yeah, so that's his.
Damn.
Yeah, so
That's pretty sick.
so he's like almost like a writer first, like
Yep.
a comic book writer first,
Yep.
and then that's why every single album is based on like a story, like, and it like
right.
all kind of makes sense.
So awesome. We've kind of talked a little bit about your favorite styles
Yeah.
of music, where that's come from, and also we looked at your favorite project, which is a banger.
Yeah,
Now, this is a huge passion project of yours, and I know it's still getting off the ground and
Yeah.
something you've been working on, but something I'm really excited to be talking about here because this is, this starts something special, man.
Yeah.
Starts something special. Tell us about Maddington. Tell the audience, what is Maddington?
It's my, I guess, producer name. It's a name that I kind of want to do a lot of my experimentation in just creative like music and producing for people. Not so much in my sort of studio recording other people, but in a sense of just like producing specifically and creative input. Sort of almost like what Kenny Beats sort of does. He like, you know, has his name as the producer on the actual track and then collabs with whoever as well. I would like to have like, you know, eventually like some sort of like a compilation of me producing and then having like people that I love to like, come in on that sort of stuff.
That'd be wild.
And just like, so at the moment, what I do mainly is I specifically focus on like creating just like Instagram reels. I mean, they can be chucked on TikTok and YouTube, whatever. But just beats. Yeah, so there's a really, really cool online community of just producers, and you kind of get to see every single sound and how they're made and everything like that. And some producers really break down like what they go into. Some producers just kind of perform, and you can get like really cool things. And I would say the main producer that kind of got me into doing that sort of thing is The Count. He's very well known in that sort of community. He's kind of like the sort of top guy.
I can't say I know him personally, but it's like a space I haven't really looked into myself.
And as you say, once you get into kind of different genres, there's another door full of just fan bases and communities and stuff like that.
Some people, they might hear you say, oh, you make beats, and it's like, what is a beat? You know, like it's like a beat can be anything, right?
Yeah.
But you're using a heap of different instrumentation.
Yeah.
So explain the process to me. You want to make a reel or you want to make a beat.
Yeah. Usually, I go in the studio. I would like to have some sort of inspiration. Usually maybe a new album or, you know, someone that I listen to more in kind of like the hip hop realm or like jazz or funk or whatever. Or even just struck inspiration from like going on Instagram and just seeing like a producer that I like, make that sort of thing. So I either come in with like a musical idea already, but if I just come in and I'm like, I have no idea what I want to do, that can be a little bit difficult, but I use either Tracklib. So they do like a lot of like sampling sort of stuff. So they have it's kind of like a vinyl, like it's like a vintage store online. So I go digging in some old like records from like 1950s, 1960s, kind of like jazz or gospel or like some Kanye type shit.
So you just have like a wide range of different tracks that you can kind of just strip the samples from and they're free to use in your beats.
So they're free to use in my beats till I actually decide to release them and try and get money off that, because then there's that's when licensing and all that stuff kind of gets in.
But you're allowed to use them in the space of creativity and creating these sounds. That's pretty cool, man.
Which is so cool. Even just like having fun with just random shit. One of my beats I called it like a green tea type beat, and I just fucking made tea and used like the stirring and shit.
Like these are the kind of intricate ideas and unique ways that a lot of these big producers and a lot of these artists that we love, this is how they find some of these beats, is they find artists like Dan who think outside the box a little and try things a little differently.
Yeah.
What do you reckon is the weirdest sound you've used in a sample or used in a beat?
So I had this comedy podcast. Shout out to the Samuel Daniel podcast with Samuel Daniel. It's not a thing anymore, RIP. But anyway, there's a episode where I actually get just a bunch of random videos and sounds from our listeners.
Yeah.
Very fucked weird shit that we got sent. A lot of that was probably my mate sending me just really drunk videos of myself doing stupid shit and making weird sounds and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I made a beat out of it. And
that was a wild beat.
Yeah, and I remember one of the weirdest ones was like, shout out to Aiden. There was like an old video of him farting into a fan that was directed onto me.
Oh, dude.
And it was like a monstrous fart. Like,
yeah.
And
I
was
used
like,
it in the beat.
So I made that the bass.
I remember.
I made that into the bass, and then I remember the hi-hats was like someone like slapping sunscreen on someone. Another mate sent a video of him just burping, and I chucked that into like an amp emulator, made it sound like a guitar. So yeah, a lot of weird shit that I got sent. And yeah, I made that into a beat. It kind of slaps.
Hey, maybe one day that beat's gonna come to surface when you're making that, making that coin, and you're a big multi-millionaire producer. You're gonna be like, find this one from the archives and release it for the people.
Yeah. Honestly, it kind of slaps. Not gonna lie. I have like a wok at my place, and I was washing the wok, and the sound of the water going around, and I accidentally hit the
great sound.
And and I accidentally like hit like the wok on the tap, and I'm like, woo, like made like this weird cool sounds. I'm like, I'm gonna sample that shit.
You mentioned that you've taken a little bit of break from Maddington.
Yeah.
Was there? I know you started releasing videos, and you were bumping them out. Yeah. And I was like, wow, it takes a lot. What you were doing in the videos.
Yeah.
If you go to Dan's channel, if you go to Dan's Instagram, Maddington, you'll see that these videos, they're a really high quality.
Yeah.
And you go like, it was releasing them weekly, and I was like, damn, man. This is high quality.
Yeah.
Was there a reason why you kind of stopped, and why you've taken a break? And what have you found the break has kind of given you?
Yeah. So you're right. The videos did just take so much out of me because they were a lot to it. So it was a thing of like, creating the beat, coming up with an idea in the first place. Yeah. Then mixing the beat, making it sound, listenable, and also mixing it from a perspective of it coming out of most people's phone speakers, not actually listened to in a sense of, headphones.
And that's a really interesting point, how you mastered or how you mixed the sound.
Yeah, I had to mix it differently.
That's really interesting.
I had to cater to the fact that bass frequencies aren't as loud out of phones than normal speakers and stuff.
That's some intricate stuff right there, man.
So just little shit of like, making the distortion or adding in those upper, kind of going a little bit nerdy, but like upper harmonics in a sense that are just more listenable to the ear. There's a performance point of it as well. Yeah. Especially just trying to look right as well.
Feeling like you're putting a bit too much pressure on the way you were kind of presenting yourself in the video aspect of it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I had to do so many takes, like just way too many takes, and like just little mistakes or something, or like I didn't stupid shit, like I didn't bop my head in the right way or something like that. Just shit like that. It would just take so much out of me, even just getting the right angles and stuff, and then setting up. So also my videos add reactive lighting. So I have reactive lighting in my studio where each instrument has a different color and reacts in a different way. And then I'd have to set that up and run that through a different program. So I use Ableton, and then that goes into like QLC Plus, which is a lighting program. And then
Dan, and you're doing a video a week.
Yeah. Well, mate, I mean, it didn't end up being that, but yeah.
Mate, I just got tired. I was getting really like physically tired hearing about that process. Keep going. Yeah, finish it off.
Well, and then on top of that, I was learning how to edit in this program called DaVinci Resolve. Yeah. So I had no idea how to use it.
Yep.
So I was doing that and learning how to use that program at the same time.
Was there a reason why you're using that program?
It was free.
Hey,
And
nothing wrong
well,
with
it was
that.
the best free program that allowed me to do the most sort of stuff.
I'm drained because you've just told me how one video and one beat was made. And I guess this would have been a really interesting, I wouldn't say a crossroads, but you obviously came to a point where you realized it wasn't sustainable.
I burnt myself out. Like, and I'll get to the point where I was filming these videos at like 3 a.m. It was a lot. And eventually kind of just all caught up to me. And I started not liking it. And, you know, the fact that my passion and everything that I've been working towards, I started to resent it and it would feel like a chore. That's when I was like, fuck, I need to take a step back and reevaluate and think, you know, is this because it's not what I thought it would be? Or is this because I'm just going about it the wrong way? In that time, I kind of fixed up sort of in a sense, like just like my life in a sense, like worked on myself. Because I feel like I wasn't really happy with where I was personally and just mentally and things like that. And I feel like because of that, it caused all that other shit. A lot of burnout.
It kind of was a domino effect almost.
Yeah,
It played into, I mean, ultimately a big part of something that you really did love doing.
Yeah. And especially like, you know, motivation and things like that and just not looking after myself, you know?
Yeah.
And you just start not enjoying anything in a sense.
Yeah, man. Like I can see that you've gone and you've taken time to kind of step back and you've clearly worked on a bunch of personal stuff and you know, I think it's going to be instrumental, no pun intended, but for you to get back to doing what you love and these beats and stuff. And I think it's a really exciting thing. So you're planning to get back into Maddington shortly, or is it kind of you still got a little bit more time and space? Or what's the kind of new plan with Maddington? How do you see it?
So yeah, I do. So just because in a sense I did step back from the videos, I didn't necessarily stop making beats or anything like that.
Yes.
So I still
the man kept working.
Yeah, I kept working behind the scenes.
He's behind the scenes. He's still working.
Yeah. 100%. I'm like, all right. Well, I think the best way to go about it is almost have a bank behind me, because I was doing like one video and then I'll be like, all right, I need to release a video next week, but I haven't made a beat. So then I'll start from scratch and then I'll stress myself out because I'll be like, shit, this beat isn't good enough. Let's make another one. This, that, or maybe this beat wasn't as good as last week. Am I going to top that? You know, this beat isn't as complex as last week. You know, I gotta keep upping myself and keeping up and stuff like that. So like, there's almost like a quality and quantity kind of push and pull thing going there as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. You wanted to have a bit more balance.
Yeah.
By having that bank, it allows you more creative freedom because you're not feeling like you're in a pressure cooker all the time.
You're your own worst critic.
Yeah, critic is pretty rough.
Yeah, and I mean it is cliche, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I think there's definitely a lot of especially in the creative industry, there's a lot of room for self-talk, and that can lead to a lot of self-doubt.
But I guess at the end of the day, just be kinder to yourself.
Yeah,
and that's what when you started being kinder to yourself and started looking after yourself, you were then able to kind of reevaluate and go, why I love this stuff, why I love making the beats.
Yeah.
If you're interested, guys, I really recommend, even if you're not like, you kind of like, I don't know what we're kind of talking about, the channel will speak for itself, or the Instagram page will speak for itself. It's a really unreal kind of process seeing how Dan makes these beats. And you're kind of getting a little bit of an insight on some of how some of your favorite artists are getting some of these beats, especially in hip hop sounds. How they're finding the inspiration to make these beats in some of your favorite songs. You know, if there's any rappers or kind of people that kind of want to look at some beats and want to hit up Maddington, I know you're open to collaborating with people, like-minded people that want to make music and make, you know, like kind of share that passion. Slide into his DMs, slide into the Maddington DMs, open up a discussion. You know, I wouldn't shout out Dan if I didn't think that he was truly incredible at what he does. Thanks. I think you got a really exciting future ahead of you, man. I'm glad that you were able to kind of take a step back, work on kind of yourself, to work on how you were going to reshape Maddington. Because it truly is a very, very interesting process, guys. Have a look at those videos, get around them, get around Maddington.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this was a really cool chat, man. I
Yeah.
really appreciate you sitting down.
Thanks for inviting me on. I'm very excited to be the first
Oh
guest.
yeah, let's go.
It's great. You know, I'm glad that you thought of me.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, man.
really appreciate it. Honestly, it's been great. It's been fun.
So this has been another. Wow, this hasn't been another. This has been the first interview live.
Yeah, live
from the
studio.
I love that. Thank you, Dan, for participating in that cheesy catch line of mine.
Yeah.
Hope you guys have a fantastic week. Please let me know down in the comments what you thought of this style of video. I'd love to hear your feedback. If this continues, if I do more of these, I'm not sure. But let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this style of video. I do want to do, you know, change up things every now and then. I want to obviously keep doing the reactions. They're a huge part of why I love doing the channel. But I also want to diversify some of the videos every now and then. But yeah, take care, guys. And I will see y'all in the next video. Cheers. Hell yeah, Danny boy.
Yeah.
Well done.